Hello there people, I'm playing Raelynn in this match, one of my absolute all-time favorites as far as Awesomenauts was concerned. Over here, as far as my loadout is concerned, I picked increased height on the rift instead of what I had set previously, which was a bit of a combo thing that gave my next shot after tossing out the rift a bit of a bonus in terms of damage. Here we go! Jumping right in, collecting all the solar that you need to collect initially. Not missing out on a single bit. Alright, deployed and ready to go. No one else in the match quite yet, but they will connect soon enough. I take more max health, my time rift, and bonus solar received for kills. This of course is one of those mid-game tempo favoring items. And considering that I had to spend a slot on it, I will not have access to a different one. Obviously, because there's a limit on how many you can take to a given match. You don't get to pick all of them. This was back in the day when you picked before the match the sort of things you took for the match. So this will allow me to get out of control if I score a few early kills. I'll get the advantage due to additional solar, which will allow me to get more items, which will allow me to score more kills. However, as time goes on, and I get more items, I will eventually run out of things to buy, at which point I will no longer be able to make use of the additional thing I could have made use of if I had not picked the monkey paw, the thing that gives me more solar. So in the late game, this advantage obviously wanes. Have that in mind. You have the enemy team right here, pushing immediately. Better Sketcher playing his Clunk as a bit of a tank, relentlessly shoots rockets at our turret, slowly chipping away at its health. This is pretty upsetting. They have a Volta healer and a bot froggy. I'm trying to push them off. I'll probably not score this kill because even though Clunk is fairly bulky and slow, he can go up to regen his health and bully me away with his explosion. I have Coco on my team, who's joined as a human, yes. And Lone Star, who helped with his ball. Pushing the Clunk in my direction, allowing me to score an early kill. And the kill gives me more solo. I can remind you, I'm over 200 already. I'll be able to go back and hit some weapons soon enough. Seems all the more reasonable since I'm somewhat low on health. We have, so far, at the very least, staved off their attack, pushed the bots somewhat towards the direction. I'm getting this snipe and additional solar from every snipe. Not a snipe that kills, a snipe that damages. Only in hindsight is it obvious to me, but this is a sink or swim sort of pick. A very mid-game tempo oriented sort of combo of items. I need to score those early kills because without them I will have absolutely wasted all of my investment in terms of items and in terms of item picks. Thankfully my team seems competent and I am fairly confident in the support as far as everything is concerned. Of course, our composition seems inferior to theirs, or at the very least more of a one-trick pony, so to speak. We have 3 damage dealers. You could describe me as a sniper, but ultimately what I do is deal damage, sometimes from afar, sometimes from a close distance. We don't have a tank, we don't have a healer. They do have a tank and a healer. They have Volta as the healer, they have Clunk here as the tank. Which is a lot more of a balanced, a lot more of a classical composition. All the same, we need to score those kills. I get the boots, which give me a boost of movement speed after I'm out of combat for a little while. This is on top of a significantly smaller but permanent increase to my movement speed. Once again we have to push them away. Lone Star is doing an admirable job as far as helping. His bulls are top-notch. They're just amazing, always where they need to be. I damaged the enemy droids with my rift. I could just not toss it out, but that would be a waste since I don't need to spend any resources on tossing out the rift. I only have cooldowns, so I might as well toss it out every time I can. I don't really need to save it for any tactical measures right the hell now, because not much is going on, not much is brewing. I could just go back to heal, but I prefer to take these little globes of health, these little medpacks, and I will head right back into the fray immediately. I don't have enough solar to spend on anything significant, so I won't do it better. I would rather gain more solar via my sniping expert. Here we go, pushing them off again. I know that I'm tanking a bit too much than I perhaps should, but once again, we don't have a dedicated tank. I got too close. I got a little overzealous there, wasn't careful enough, and got caught in Clunk's blast. I could have absolutely ran away in time. I wasn't paying attention enough. Didn't have the reflexes. That's okay. I'm on my way back. In the meantime, I also got the damage upgrade for my Rift. It's an interesting upgrade to get here, especially since we can jump over such things to the Rift. However, it will impede the progress of the enemy droids, which I greatly appreciate. I will be able to clear waves with that Rift. And it's always a bother to try and get through it if you're underground and don't want to jump around for whatever reason. Once again, as soon as our team regroups, the enemy team is forced to pull back. We simply have too much damage for them to stay for too long. As long as we don't really leave this lane, they will not feel safe enough to just stay there and push. However, considering how little sustain we have, because we don't have a healer to back us up, they are ultimately destroying our turret in the middle. They can sustain themselves a lot easier than we can. We have the damage to burst them down, and they have the health and the healing to out-sustain us. We need to pounce on them and kill them, or at the very least scare them off. If we do not do that, they will simply poke at us. Poke us into oblivion. Look at the health on that turret. It is about to go down. I don't think we can stop it in any way. Granted, the Clunk is being somewhat reckless, but I don't foresee him going down anytime soon. Default, I will just heal him back up. I don't have enough solar to actually go back and buy anything that would swing the advantage in our favor. It seems that our turret will fall down first. Pretty much no matter what, unless some miracle happens and we manage to take the turret down in a burst of damage, as we are wont to do. Look at it go. The miracle has occurred. They have somehow abandoned the lane entirely, allowing us to pile up the damage. All that patience for naught. Ultimately, even though they chipped away at our turret, we've managed to organize ourselves eventually and take down those first. Quite impressive. Once again, back in those days, having all 3 people in one spot at the same time was almost a miracle. A bit of a spat occurred, no one actually died. But get pretty close to taking them down, they get pretty close to taking us down. However, due to them being somewhat disorganized, at times more disorganized than we are, they have managed to get themselves into a position where we can push them all the way to the second tier turret. And somewhat par for the course, this particular map tends to snowball as soon as you take the first tier turret. The entire map opens up as soon as you get through that particular choke point. And since that choke point is so obviously in your way the entire time, it tends to get overcome sooner rather than later. However, our tier 1 turret may as well fall fairly soon, which will open up both parts of the map. The very last thing we want to do. Lone Star's Bull could push the Clunk in the direction of our turret, but if it does, Clunk might as well choose to explode and damage it, perhaps even destroy it in the process. As much as pinning him against our turret is a decent idea, it just might as well spell disaster to some extent. It's a bit of a standoff here, which benefits me greatly because I can snipe from a distance. They are crafty, however. Crafty enough to surprise me from time to time playing peekaboo with explosions. I go right back into the fray at half health because I need to remain there. I need to get that solar through snipes. I need to push them back. I need to help my team. That was a close call. Well, thankfully I got away. Maybe I'll reconsider this time. Yes, I'm finally going back and buying something. I have almost 500 solar. I get the big damage upgrade for the snipe and 1 tier of the small damage upgrade. Once again, for the snipe. Now snipe will be my bread and butter. Every time I use it, I deal a lot of damage, and based on that damage, I also get additional solar. Bonus damage in action. I will of course keep sniping them until they either choose to engage or disengage. If they engage, I'll just fall back. If they disengage, I'll just pursue. You know, the usual kiting sort of nonsense. Keeping my distance. And I can keep them at a decent one. Of course, snipe immobilizes me, so I have to be careful. I have to pick my battles in the spots where I choose to immobilize myself at, but other than that, should be fine. At this point, sniping takes care of about 80% or 90% of the droid's health, so wave clear is not an issue. However, the really juicy part is taking care of enemy not low on health. Desperately trying to retreat, but unable to because I can wipe them out with that snipe. Of course, I use it for everything. I use it for poking as well. It's on a fairly low cooldown, why not? Otherwise it's just a waste. And besides, the additional solar makes it worth for me to snipe all the time. At anything, really. Be it droids or not. We're desperately trying to push this lane, but it's taking a while. I almost have 500 solar again. I would like to buy some more damage upgrades, I presume. I would love to teleport back, however, we're doing so damn well and the enemy team seems to be interested in coming back, perhaps pushing this lane a bit further than we would like to. And considering how low on health our turret is, I am not inclined to let them do that. I would rather kill someone before leaving, but just doesn't seem to be in the cards. I've tried to teleport back so many times, and eventually I will need to. By the way, we've destroyed the tier 2 turret somehow. My team has pushed all the way there, destroyed it. Now the way to the base is open. I've maxed out the damage and the slow on my rift. Will be extremely helpful. It doesn't have the height upgrades quite yet, but they'll come in time. I tried to body block. However, going alone against Clunk, supported by a Voltal, wasn't the best of my ideas, and I die again for a second time. I regret doing that, it wasn't the smartest thing to have ever done. But unfortunately it happened. I now have to live with the consequences. Our tier 1 turret is down, and they will soon be going for tier 2 turret. Now, granted we have already taken the tier 2 turret down, so we are ahead in terms of that. Right, let's get one health upgrade, one max health upgrade, and head on into the fray, once more, alongside my team. I immobilize myself to snipe, not the best of circumstances. I get pushed away by the ball as I want to position myself, try to use the jump pad, but I am unable to. Ultimately, it leads to my demise. Again. I need to be a lot more cautious that Was really a poor show on my part. Sorry for that. To make matters even worse, they are busy destroying our tier 2 turret. With the sustain I kept mentioning over and over, they are able to out-sustain us. They will be able to take it down, most likely. Especially without me. Badass catch-up is just exploding time after time after time, and Volta keeps healing him back up. Taking down the medic is one small step in the right direction. Now they don't have the sustain and need to back off. For good measure, I taunt them. Might not be the most effective thing to do, but it's something I'm capable of doing. And damn it, I will. Need to psych them out. That was a flying snipe that ended up doing absolutely nothing. But it was a valiant attempt nonetheless. I didn't want to put myself in a terrible spot, so I went for the jump pad. I've taken care of Clunk, who has a lot of health, but I also have a lot of damage. He can have a certain degree of confidence, but without healer backing him, he will be taken down. Especially if he tries to explode, which takes away some of his health. Here we have a Lone Star, somewhat stranded on our territory. Can we hunt him down? Probably, unless he uses his bull properly. He pushed me off, it slowed me down a bit, but I might be able to get to him. And take him down with the snipe. I couldn't have planted the rift in front of him, couldn't have outrun him, but I did manage to snipe him. Now I snipe off-screen targets. Try to avoid Clunk's bites. Hopefully he explodes as well. Now that he has already used his explode, I have a few moments of respite. A few moments where I can feel safe that he won't blow up in my face again. So with the cooldowns as low as they are, that moment of respite is really brief. I also have no idea what sort of upgrades he got, so he might as well have the cooldowns lower. Which puts even more uncertainty to play. I get the height upgrades for my rift and all the remaining damage upgrades for my snipe. I should be fairly deadly right now, and the rift should be almost an insurmountable barrier. It slows significantly, deals a lot of damage, and you can't really jump over it, not anymore. It either used to be a lot more impressive, or it's not yet as impressive as it was at some point. I remember the rift being obscenely tall in some patch. Oh well. Hold on to your butt cheeks, because here comes the play of the game. A nice snipe to clear out the droids. Clunk, as he usually does, charges at us with an explode, which lowers his health significantly. All three of them are low on health. I killed two of them with that snipe, and I would have killed Lone Star as well if it wasn't for him using the jump pad. A single frame later and he would have been dead. I would have killed 3 people with a single snipe. It doesn't get better than this. I somewhat got my hopes up for sniping him here. Ultimately, I don't mind Coco stealing my thunder. This is a team game. As long as he's dead, he's dead. And I certainly don't need the additional solar. I have plenty. I get my health back up. I'm at 400 solar, so I might as well go back to buy items soon enough. But for now, I try to psych the Clunk out. Keeping a fair distance. Not putting myself in a terrible spot, but dealing the damage that I can with my snipes. Raking in the additional solar with each of them. And being a nuisance in general. Since the way to the enemy base is open, we might as well try to push through. Deal some damage to it. Granted, I would rather get away at this point. Fortunately, the bottom... Unfortunately, bottom lane was closed, so I couldn't get out through there. I had to get out through top lane, and Clunk was in my way, so I decided it was for the best to just kill him instead of potentially risking my life. Probably shouldn't have put myself in that spot in the first place, but it is what it is. Rather, it was what it was. Plenty of basic attack damage upgrades have been gotten, so even my relatively long range, or perhaps I should say mid-range rifle shots also pack a decent punch. And I have the advantage of being absolutely free. And having, once again, a decent distance. Not being completely ineffective. That was a nice dodge of the exploder on my part, I have to say. However, I need to be careful here. I do not want to put myself in a position from which I will be unable to escape. Obviously enough. Time to heal up. Kill the little cyber kitties. Frolicking around and in the top area. Not really a top lane of any sort because no minions go through it. Droids. And now would be the time to help Lone Star push even further. I don't have much of a regen, but since my Rift slows down significantly and deals a decent bit of damage, I can get rid of the regen as well. Now we're kinda even. Well, not really even. They don't have a healer now and we have 3 people against them. This is not going to end well. At least from their perspective. Time to hammer that drill. Of course, we don't want to get wiped out by the enemy clunks explode. Thankfully. If it wasn't for that explode, I would have been fine, you know. I get all the upgrades, by the way. The remaining basic attack damage upgrades and the remaining max health upgrades. And now, we need to finish things off. Because the longer the game goes on, the better the upgrades on the enemy team. And I am no longer able to do anything with my solo. I am no longer able to buy much of anything. I got all the items I could have. All of my temple items have gotten me to this peak. Beyond that point, I am at a disadvantage because of the same items I picked and cannot swap within the map for anything else. Regardless, I am level 36, which puts me miles ahead. As you can see, our Lone Star is 22, our Coco is 24. Time to strike. As long as I don't do anything stupid, I should be able to handle matters. The bonus health gives me a bit of survivability. The snipe should allow me to handle Lone Star potentially running away, but that was unnecessary. He remained close enough for me to be able to gun him down with a basic attack. I didn't want to resort to sniping in melee range because that usually ends poorly. You can be pushed away, you can be blown up by dynamite. You probably want to avoid doing that unless you really know that it's the way to go, which it really is. Lone Star will be respawning soon enough. But we still have to push quite a bit as they have managed to accomplish things. In the meantime, they've managed to unpush quite decently. Thankfully, with the damage that I can dish out from my snipes and my basic attacks, we're able to get through those droids with ease. The buzz droids I have unleashed through the container allow me to somewhat try and push bottom lane, although unfortunately I will be unable to take care of the turret, or even take care of Lone Star though. It was a valiant attempt, but alas. Here comes the bottleneck, here comes exploding Clunk again. Thankfully I avoid the snipe this time, but Lone Star will not be so lucky, he will not get away. I could have tried to stay there and fought Clunk on my own, but I deemed it unwise. I've fallen back. Let's try to unpush here, maybe get rid of Lone Star if I possibly can. It's going to be somewhat tricky. have to maintain my distance, the proper distance. I have to be close enough to be able to snipe him, far enough for him not to be able to respond. Oh boy. That was pretty risky, as you can imagine. Teleporting back to base is not going to happen. I may try to go back through top lane because bottom lane once again is inaccessible, but no. Plunk got me. I know that this match had its ups and downs. I've died a lot more times than I probably should have. Probably should have been more careful. Also, I tried to perform that snipe from up top. However, a little bit of momentum got conserved and I slipped, falling down. Hopefully I can fend them off, or rather my team can fend them off before we lose the game. But if we do manage to wipe them out a single time, we've got this. The damage they've dealt has been fairly insubstantial, and my basic attack should be able to damage Voltar enough so that I can snipe him down. My team is still dead. However, we will regroup very, very soon, while the enemy team is one man short. That man being Voltar. Thankfully, I don't get myself blown up again on that clunk. And as Coco takes care of Lone Star, all that remains is exactly him. I take the brunt of that explode again, but thankfully all the max health bonuses I have purchased have paid off and I remain alive. With the enemy team dead, we can finally push into the base and finish things off. Since the respawn timers are substantial right now, they shouldn't be back up for a decent bit of time. Of course, we try to be somewhat meticulous in clearing up the enemy waves, but with the damage I can dish out, that's not much of a concern. We toss as much damage as we possibly can into the enemy drill, and that'll be it. GG. Victory for our side. Thanks for watching, and you will see me elsewhere.